This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Donald Trump is in diminished capacity. It is without doubt. It is no longer something that you could, just a little jokey joke about Donald Trump's brain melting. It's not that. To compare the cognitive ability and state of Donald Trump to Joe Biden is folly. It is nonsense. Joe Biden is old, Donald Trump is old, but what we're witnessing with Donald Trump is dangerous because the Republicans aren't going to be there to call him out for it. They will cover for him. They will lie for him. It'll be another Woodrow Wilson situation. If you don't know, Google Woodrow Wilson and coma or whatever, where his wife was running the show while he, the sworn president of the United States, was infirmed in his bed in the White House. This is what we're going to end up with Donald Trump. It may be, that's the easy, that's the most desirable outcome, was a comatose Donald Trump laying in bed up in the residence. The worst would be him making erratic and insane decisions based on his brain rot. Oribido, He had two speeches this weekend. We'll get to the Ribido. He had two speeches this weekend, one in North Carolina, one in Virginia, making a push for Super Tuesday coming up here tomorrow. And it is very, very clear what is happening. Even with scripted remarks, he cannot do it. It's not just flubbing a word. It is beyond that. Watch this first one, his Ribido, and then we'll get to him thinking he signed legislation he didn't, and again, stating that Obama is president of the United States, and that is the person who is his opponent, the person he is running against, and the person that his good pal Vladimir Putin doesn't have any respect for. First, Ribido,
heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will Ribido,
Ribido. You see, this is the scripted portion of at the end of his thing where they play the QAnon theme song and he goes through his serious thing that he does over and over and over and over again. This is not like new words he's never seen on the screen. This is the same thing over and over. It's a repeated thing, and he can't even get that right. Next is him claiming that he signed legislation that he did not, taking responsibility for a veterans health program that he had nothing to do with. In fact, it was signed years before he became president, 3 years before he became president. Watch this moment. I got two others that don't make it any better.
I thought it was possible. For our great veterans, we passed VA accountability and VA choice. That was a big deal.
Look, as a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, I spent years in the Marine Corps. This kind of shit bothers me extra. And not because he claims to have been helping veterans or he has some allegiance to or love and affection for veterans and our service, because I don't believe that is true. What bothers me more about it is the whooping and hollering crowd in the background who also use veterans as a prop. Anytime any social measure comes up about helping this group or that group, you have idiots like Donald Trump and the unwashed, low information crowd behind him who will, what about the homeless veterans? We shouldn't be paying for that until we're helping homeless veterans. Yet, there's never any initiative to actually put money forth to do that, to help homeless veterans. It's all a prop. They use their patriotism as a prop. They use their Bibles as a prop. They use veterans as a prop. It's fake patriotism on full display. And the fact that Donald Trump is taking credit for the Veterans Access, Choice, and Accountability Act is absolutely gross. Let me read from the veteransadministration.gov website. On August 7th, 2014, President Obama signed into law the Veterans Access, Choice, and Accountability Act of 2014, the CHOICE Act, calling for VA to implement the Veterans Choice Program. The Veterans Choice Program is one of the ways VA is improving access to care for veterans. It allows eligible veterans to receive care from non-VA facilities, connecting them to timely and convenient access to health care, instead of waiting for a VA appointment or traveling long distances to a VA facility. Veterans who live more than 40 miles away from a VA medical facility or have an excessive travel burden are eligible. Thanks, Obama. Not thank you, Donald Trump, unless, of course, Donald Trump was masquerading as President Obama in 2014, or maybe he had a fucking time machine. But they'll whoop for him. They'll holler for him when he did nothing. He didn't do this. Next up is Virginia. And this is where it really does get scary, where Donald Trump continues to do this gaffe. And I'm wrong. I'm wrong to say that because it's not a gaffe. It's not just a slip of the tongue. This is a continuous thing that happens over and over and over in speech after speech after speech, and he's unable to stop himself from doing it. Either he's so flighty and stupid that he just slips up, or more troublingly, he really can't control and does at times believe that he's back in time and President Obama is the president that he's running against. Either way, it's not good. Watch this moment.
Get that war settled. It's a bad war. And Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word today. You heard that, nuclear. He's starting to talk nuclear weapons today.
Is that not a problem? If you're a Trump fan and you're here to troll, does that not give you pause? Does that not bother you? And without saying, well, what about Joe Biden? Without doing that, sure, we'll give you, okay, sure. But doesn't it also bother you that Donald Trump thinks a man who left office in 2017, that he's president? Obama hasn't been president of the United States since 11:59 on January 20th, 2017. And Donald Trump's still invoking his name because that's the biggest threat in Donald Trump's mind, and he's just that addled to think it's true. It's gotten so bad for Donald Trump that he is now having to acknowledge all of the gaffes. He's having to acknowledge all of his flubs. And he spends, a pretty significant portion of his speeches explaining away the times that he, for instance, called Nikki Haley Nancy Pelosi in 4, 5, 6 different instances over the course of just a minute or so. He didn't catch himself because, again, that's what's in his head. Watch this.
Yes, I have to be very, very careful. We have many of them. I purposely mix up like a name like Bird Brain. You know who Bird Brain is, right, Nikki? With Nancy Pelosi. I put them in because they're interchangeable in my mind. And except I have to say, I shouldn't say this about a semi-Republican, but I think Pelosi's probably a little bit smarter, actually. It's too bad to say. But you know what? So you interchange them, and then they go out with stories. I cannot be sarcastic, so I try not to be. I just did that thing for the first time in like 2 weeks because it's a disaster. Guaranteed, the fake news, the enemy of the people, will say he could not find his way off the stage.
Yeah, that explains it away, Donald Trump. That's good. Thank you. Makes me feel way better about the situation that we face in this country. This is dangerous. This needs to be on the tip of everybody's tongue. Donald Trump is diminished. Donald Trump is not available cognitively to do the job. And the more scary thing is that if he does fall into a Woodrow Wilson situation, it will be the worst of the worst. white Christian nationalists, literal fucking Nazis who will be there to take up the slack and be acting president of the United States. That's a problem. That's a big deal that everyone needs to be aware of, and not to be a fearmonger here, and afraid of. There's not sane, rational, well-intending people who are behind Donald Trump. You have a series of idiots who are either promoting their own agendas, or they have the worst ideas about how to make America some kind of a utopic white ethno state like Stephen Miller. What do you think? I'd love to know. We can mix it up in the comments. That would help YouTube to promote this channel to new viewers, and I am within 10,000 of getting to 600,000 subscribers. Thank you. If you do that, I would appreciate a comment. You can also leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, as always, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you appreciate what I do, more importantly, if I bring you value, if I do something for you that you appreciate, just consider supporting my work. You can click the join button below for $1.99. You can become a channel member on YouTube. You can hit the super thanks button. You go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. But again, make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on social media. If you share this video, tag me on Twitter or wherever. I'm at Dollemore. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.